I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're taking a look at the enchanting world of children's literature with Nina Kelly. She's the author of amazing books, including Athena the Brave, Athena, Tudor, and Eagle, and HoneyBee TreeHouse. Nina is a best-selling author and mythologist who brings a passion for storytelling to life with these heartwarming tales that teach children about courage, the power of words, and the importance of nature. These books are perfect for young readers who are eager to learn valuable life lessons through engaging stories. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put her in the spotlight today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like her by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing her wonderful books. The links are below this interview. Nina, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you back on the show. You're always a great guest, very, very insightful. Tell us a little bit about how your background in mythological studies influenced these stories that you've put out there.
Well, thank you. That's actually a great question. In mythology, you study all cultures, religions, philosophy, their literature, their rituals. And I learned a lot about doing that, how important obviously stories are for people. But in mostly all cultures, they start the stories, the oral tradition, and it's passed down to the young ones. And I think it's just a natural transition for me being an elder, that I've gone from elderhood, taking care of elders, so to say, all the way now we're the young. And I know they're looking for heroes. They need good role models. That was the inspiration for that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the Theta, Tudor, and the Bees, those are some of your characters. Tell us a
Yes.
little bit about the inspiration behind them.
Well, the HoneyBee TreeHouse is because it's critical that, we save our bees. 90, somewhere between 75 and 90%, it depends on where you live, of what you ingest is all direct correlation for bees. And bees pollinate, bees, we just need to save the bees. And so my first book was about the importance of saving bees, and then children become bee activists, so to say, and that's
Be an
that's
activist.
yes, bee
Yeah, yeah,
and that's exactly where that came from. Yeah,
great.
yeah.
And Athena?
Well, now may I show you something?
Sure.
This is my grand dog. I put it.
Okay.
That's a thing.
Beautiful.
Thank
A
you.
Maltese or
She's a Pomeranian.
Pomeranian. Okay. I don't
She's
see them at white that often. That's why
oh.
it
Oh,
fooled me.
yes. So here's Athena. I'll just show you this. And I should have showed you. This is Athena the Brave.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
see, that's
Yep.
Athena. Now, Athena, how I got inspired for that is because Athena, we have a parade in New Orleans. I'm originally from New Orleans.
Mhm.
We have a parade called Barkus. The whole
Mhm.
purpose of the crew of Barkus is to raise money for dogs, for the SPCA, sheltered dogs, dogs in need. Athena happened to be the queen of this parade. And we raised more money than had ever been raised at the time. And so she takes her role and her character. So just from that, I thought, oh, wow, Athena could help teach stories for young people. So the first book is she teaches the power of words. Athena the Brave teaches kindness and the power of words. The second book, Athena Tudor and the Eagle, she teaches face your fear, have the courage to face your fear. That's where that came about. So,
Yeah. And bullying is a theme of that book as well, right?
yes, and well, that's why the power of words. Words can heal, but words can also harm. So,
Mm,
throughout the whole purpose of this book is the biggest bully in the book all of a sudden realizes, the cards were turned, and at the
right.
sudden he goes, "Oh, wait a minute." Those words can be pretty powerful and
Yeah.
helpful. Yeah. So I just took that opportunity to use that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's important that children realize the power of words. They can be
Yeah.
very constructive or very destructive, and we grew up as kids, sticks and stones may break may break our bones, but names will never hurt us. That's really not true. Names kind of stick with you.
They do. They really do. I had a wonderful meeting yesterday talking about you think intellectually you can get past that, but words stay with you. I mean, they
Yeah.
resonate for a long time.
Right, right, right. I don't want to make it a political conversation, but that's why Trump labels people as he does,
That-
because you can't help but Sleepy Joe or this, whatever name he comes up with
yeah.
becomes how they're defined. And it's kind of an interesting tool. Like I said, we'll keep the politics out of this.
Yeah, that's
And
the beauty of HoneyBee TreeHouse. We are not political.
exactly, exactly. Well, Honeybee Treehouse is about the environment, right? It's about saving
Absolutely.
bees, as you said. And
Yes.
children, are afraid of bees, but they have to realize they have an important role in society, right?
Yes. You're going to love this story.
Hmm.
I was at a conference. Well, I was actually I was at a book signing at the Los Angeles Book Fair. Okay. And as I'm signing, you wouldn't believe it. A bee comes, it's on my hand, and the little children are going, oh, and I go, oh, no, no, no. Remember, bees won't harm you. I couldn't have
And it
planned.
bit you.
No, but it was the craziest thing ever.
That
It's
is
like
funny.
I couldn't have even planned that. But
Amazing.
it's amazing because bees really, truthfully, now wasps will hurt you.
Yeah,
Bees, bees go about their business. They
right.
have a job.
Right. And people misconstrue bees and wasps often,
Absolutely.
the little yellow jackets we see and the wasps we see, those are
Yes.
ones that'll give you the nasty bites. And the
Yes.
bees are busy on the flowers, no doubt. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Each one of these books won Mother's Choice Award. I'm very excited about that. So
That's
they just goes to
wonderful.
show you that these are good books for children. And
Yeah.
that's really what all authors are searching for, children book authors.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to connect to children. Have you had the pleasure of reading these to some children?
I have.
Yeah.
Actually, I went to a children's museum. I've gone to several schools. Uh, Another exciting point is that this last school I went to was up in Ohio, and the children were so excited that I thought I began reading it, and then I asked their teacher, because it was a group, and I said, "Is it okay if we just have dialogue?" I ran out of time. They were so excited. I mean, they kept asking questions, and I think this is how it's supposed to be. That they can, it's really pretty interactive. I mean, it was exciting. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. I know part of your past career or current career actually has been in documentary filmmaking, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. Have you envisioned any of these as films or movies or series, perhaps?
Absolutely. I was going from your mouth to God's ears.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
yes, I actually, Honeybee Treehouse would make a phenomenal story.
Yeah.
And so would Athena. Athena's going to be a series.
Hmm.
And yes, I would love to see them in animation film, or even, nowadays, as you know, because you're more aware of that, is that they do film characters.
Right.
It's animation and character, like
Right. It's live action mixed with
exactly.
animation and CGI. Yeah, that'd be
Yes.
terrific. Yeah,
Yeah,
without a doubt.
I see that. I absolutely see that. Yeah.
Yeah, but once you put the work out there, you never know whose hands it's going to wind up in, which
Yeah.
is the beauty of publishing a book, no doubt.
Yeah.
Now, you say Athena is going to be part of a series. So far, you've got two installments. Is there a third coming?
There is a third coming, and I'm wrestling with it because at first I there is a third one that I've already earmarked because I've also given these books to the children's hospital. So I was kind of lending maybe a story there, you
Right.
know. And that's that's I actually wrote that story, and then I went back and went, oh no, there's another one that's more important. So sometimes we're our own worst.
Right, right. Well, the word process of your brain just keeps
Right,
on churning
right.
out ideas and revising. And,
Yes.
I
Yeah,
know how that's how the creative process works. You get one idea,
exactly.
you go on one track, and you're like, oh, no,
Yeah,
no, maybe this, or
yeah,
maybe both. I mean, I think the idea of Athena helping children at a children's hospital would be great, letting children know what to expect when they're there and that there might be some discomfort, but everybody's trying to help them and so on.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah.
that would be
Thank you. Yeah.
great lessons and courage as well, right?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's really critical. I did a lot of work um, early on in my life with children, and so I kept thinking, no, this is imperative because, and she's such a good role model because she's done so many other things in real lifetime. She's been an emotional support dog. Of course, she was the queen, and then she's just done as an individual dog herself. She's a good role model. You see, so I like the idea of real lifetime versus story time too.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
And the blending them together to give children a great
yes,
lesson.
yeah.
Does your work in psychology come into play when you're shaping the characters and the themes in your book?
I think I think we all do that, whether we
Mm,
know it or not.
right.
I think I think if you live long enough, you're accumulating things. So yes, I think it happens whether you're doing it on purpose or not.
Mm.
You have a goal in mind, and I certainly have my own code of ethics, and I certainly have my own integrity that I stand by. And I think all of that comes into play. You see, yeah.
Absolutely. Which was the first children's book you wrote? Athena the Brave?
No, it was HoneyBee TreeHouse. Well,
Oh, that
actually,
was
the
the
first
first.
one I wrote was in collaboration with Jack Canfield and a couple of other people, and it was called Leo Learns a Lesson. We each had our own chapter.
Oh, very cool.
So that was the first book I was invited to do. And then after that, I went, you know, no, because I always had the bees in mind. I
Mm,
had I get my strength from the soul. You know,
yeah,
I like the earth. And
yeah,
so as I walked around and I just thought, no, we need to save these bees.
yeah.
And that was, what role could I play in this? See? So a honeybee treehouse was the first one. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. What are you working on now? Are you working on anything new? I know Athena, new chapters is possible, but do you have any other projects you're working on?
Yes, I am rewriting Grace Has a Silent Voice.
Mm,
I'm redoing that. Those are stories about it's a nonfiction, or I will say creative nonfiction because you can't use the names of the real people. The stories of resilience of the human spirit in times of tragedy. And our silent heroes. So many people walk into your life, make a difference.
yeah,
Case in point, right here. You
right.
said, wouldn't you like to see it? Would you see this as a film? That's someone who comes into your life,
Right.
a direction. See?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never know when it's going to happen or
Yeah.
how it's going to happen or what impact it'll have. But yeah,
Right. Right.
it's kind of
Yeah.
the beautiful serendipitous nature of life, which is great, without a doubt. Give us an overview of the story of Grace Has a Silent Voice. I know we spoke about it once before, but for the folks at
Yes.
home who are tuning in now.
Okay. Well, Grace Has a Silent Voice. I had the privilege, obviously, because it's written in letter form, and I'm writing letters, and each chapter is different. So I'm writing letters to the listener. And this is stories of organ donation, transplantation, death and dying, stories of as I said, the resilience of the human spirit. They're true stories where people have lost their loved ones, but yet given organ donation. Or I have a story in there of, well, someone saved my life because I was at the time the president of the Children's Bureau, and I stayed in New Orleans for Katrina. Not very smart, not the
Oh,
wise. That was never do that again. But in my
right.
mind, I thought, oh no, I've got to save the Bureau. Well, that's the
Yeah.
good news. That was, but there was an individual then when everybody had to be evacuated. So there's a story in there how this man literally saved my life.
Mm,
And
amazing.
yeah, I'm telling you. And so, and it's quite a story. It's really quite a story. So I put that in there too, because I thought about this man. Because when our ways parted, I said, thank you so much, mister. Because he had told me about 20 people he'd saved. I said, thank you, mister. You saved 20 people today. He goes, no, ma'am, I saved 21.
Mm, amazing.
I know. And I went, oh, you're right. I'm so sorry.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, we got lots of time. Tell us what he did, how he
Okay.
saved your life.
Oh, well, okay, here's the story.
Yeah.
And as I said, I stayed. And what happened was I thought we had, New Orleans had survived the hurricane.
Right.
Oh, of course, then we had the breach. And when the breach came,
Hmm.
and that's when all the water came. It's a great, I don't know, it's a great story because what happened was the next day, the only people in my building were the president of AT&T, the president of Acadia and an ambulance, which is a big ambulance over the state. And they didn't realize I was in the building. So they're coming and they look at it, they go, "What are you doing here?" And so they said, "You have 15 minutes to get out of town." Now you're gonna love this story. So I go, "Where do I go?" And I don't know, just get out. I get out of the building. I am driving down. I get out of my building. I go down. These are landmarks, Poydras, and I get on Canal Street. And what I see happening on Canal Street, it was like the worst sides of humanity was coming out. And I'm going, what's wrong with you? What are these people doing?
Right.
All right, so I get nervous. Now, this to me never made sense, but I'm telling you, it's a true story. I get on Tulane Avenue. Now, Tulane Avenue, where the hospitals are, LSU and Tulane.
Mhm.
But I got up on a ramp. That street flooded 6 feet. Now,
Mhm.
I don't know I'm telling you this, how I got on this ramp, I don't know. So
Right.
I'm going up on the ramp to New Orleans East to try to go out of town. And of course, I keep going, and the trooper stops me and goes, where are you going? I said, well, I have to get out of town. He
Mm.
goes, you keep going here, you're going to fall into the canal. The bridge is broken. I
God.
went, so I asked him, I said, where do I go? He goes,
Right.
I don't care where you go, just get out of here. So I go, excuse me, sir, can I drive on the wrong way? Because, here I'm on the wrong.
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't know if I'm making this too long or not, but
No, no, no.
okay. Anyway, I said, can I go? He goes, little lady, get out of here. I went, yes, sir, yes, sir. So I'm driving the wrong way. Everybody has seen the pictures of the Superdome. Okay.
Hmm.
So I get on the ramp right across from the Superdome. This is 12 noon, and you can't go any further. I'm standing up. I get out of my car. Of course, the cell phones are not working. And I'll never forget this in my life. Helicopters are landing. They're dropping the water. People are yelling. People are screaming. You cannot get this out of your vision.
Wow.
And I'm standing there, and I'll never forget this little young man who's there. A couple of people are on foot, and he said, "What do we do?" You say some crazy stuff. I go,
Yeah.
it's supposed to flood 30 feet. We need to shimmy on up here. And he goes, and how do you think we're going to do this? How do you think we're going to? I went, I don't know.
God. Right.
Well, what happened was a lady came to me because it was hot. I mean, it's
Hmm.
August, it happened, August 29th, and this is August 30th. It's really hot and you're on concrete. She,
Right.
she comes up to me with a wet towel and she said, here, wipe your face. Something told me to close my eyes. I put the towel here. I have a scar to this day. What I think the woman was trying to do was blind me. It was like gasoline or, yeah. And the minute I did that, then I became frightened.
Good
Because,
God. So she had something on the towel to like blind you so you wouldn't be able to see so she could rob you or something?
yes, yes.
Thickest thing I've ever heard of.
I'm telling this as a true story. And so
Yeah.
what happened, then I got frightened. I couldn't call out, but one of my social workers at the time called me. He was in New York and he goes, Nina, Nina. He goes, I can't come to work. Went, wait, don't hang up. And I said, no, remember, you are stressed. Okay.
Right.
I
Right.
said, I said, listen, he's a great little Italian guy. And I
Mm.
said, look, call Houston. Tell him to send me a helicopter. Tell him to land. I'm right here. You can't miss it. Blah blah blah. And I'm waiting, and I am praying because I know if
Mm.
the sun goes down, I am not gonna live. So what happened? He calls me back because he said, Nina, the only thing coming in is military. You know, no aircraft can come in. Now that was kind of a crazy move on my part, but I kept thinking I knew somebody. I knew
Right.
somebody in the military. I knew somebody in Houston. I knew if I could get them, they could come get me.
Right.
Well, that wasn't going to happen. That's when Mr. Gibson shows up and he looks at me and he said, if you give me a ride, I'll get you out of here.
Mm,
And I looked at him eye to eye in his eyes and I said, are you a good man?
mm,
He said, I'm a really good man.
yeah,
And only had a two-seater. It was a sports car,
right,
and he had a big duffel bag. And he looked at me, he said, we need to go and we need to go now.
right.
So I got in the car and I'm like, you're my angel, you're my angel, you're my angel. And we went, I know we were the last car to cross the Mississippi Bridge, and only because it was a nice car, I think.
Right.
So it took us 6.5 hours to get to Baton Rouge. That's a 1 hour.
Wow.
The whole time I'm calling him my angel. And all of a sudden he goes, you keep talking about angels, but I believe in dragons. And I went, that's when mythology kicked in. I went, the Chinese think they're wonderful people. They save people.
Exactly.
So
Amazing.
that's my, that's part of the story.
So the story was society was basically devolving at that point. So it was the natural threat was one threat you were facing, but the
Yeah.
fact that like crime was rampant on the streets, is that what the problem
Right. That's
was?
what made me get off of Canal Street. People were breaking in, and I kept thinking, where are they going to go? I
I
mean,
mean, what are they going to do with an iPad when a huge storm is
there's
coming?
no
Why,
electricity. Yeah.
this,
No, where are they going to go? What are they going to do? What are they thinking? So in times of tragedy, you either see the worst sides of people,
yeah,
you see, and I've always said that
yeah.
tragedy will show you what you're made out of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people are good-hearted angels who will rescue from that. Other people are giving you towels with acid on them, or God knows.
I'm telling you this, that I have that scar on my face to this day. And I'm
Crazy.
so happy my eyes were closed. I
Oh
mean,
my God, you've been blind.
oh yeah.
Unbelievable.
And and
Unbelievable.
and that man saw that. And
Yeah.
he and of course at that time, that's when you have to trust someone. Because when I'm telling you, I looked directly into his eyes and I went,
Yeah.
are you a good man?
Right. Right. Yeah.
And to this day,
Amazing. Amazing. Well, stay out of storm zones going forward. Okay.
no, leave when the hurricane comes.
Yeah, when the hurricanes are much more devastating than anybody could ever imagine because of the
Yeah.
storm surges and all that.
Yeah.
You're in it, it's like, 100-mile-an-hour wind, it's not that bad, but it's crazy. I've been in hurricanes. But my stories aren't as crazy as yours, that's for sure. I can
So
see
that's
why it
what
wound up in your book, that's for
yeah.
sure.
Well,
Yeah.
because that man, if it wouldn't be for him,
Mm.
think about it, you
And he
know.
knew the way around the roads to get you out, is that what it
Yeah,
was?
because I said everything's closed. I mean, but see, sometimes, I mean, he just knew his way around.
Yeah,
They- And there
yeah.
was no one traffic. I mean, every place I went, because I go, oh, that's the wrong way. He goes, what are you talking about? We gotta get out of here.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
You
In
know,
fact, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. No, I can see it. Like 9/11, I'll give you a brief story.
sure.
I was a news reporter for a New York TV station in 9/11, and all of the roads had reversed. You couldn't drive into the site because people were going the wrong ways down one-way streets to get
Yeah.
out. And so I got out of my car and I was in a news van and gonna do it on foot. And some guy on a motorcycle said, "Hey, I'll get you in there." I got on the back of his motorcycle. We drove down sidewalks to
See,
get to where I was going. So, yeah,
yeah. So you
disaster
understand.
zones are crazy zones, that's for
They
sure.
are. Yeah. And the story, the aftermath of the story was incredible because in returning, I had a really good friend who's no longer with us. He was a general and a doctor. And I told him, I said, by the time I got out, oh, well, I'll tell you, because I hadn't made plans. So the first place I could put my head down was in Houston. And the only place they had available, the only place they had available was a brand new hotel. And he said, ma'am, the only thing we have is a honeymoon suite. I went, I'll take
Yeah,
it.
exactly. That sounds great.
I
Yeah.
don't care.
Does it have a jacuzzi? Awesome.
I
Yeah.
don't care. I saw, but
Yeah.
then I turned the television on. And then when I went, what's wrong? You
Yeah.
know, it really broke my heart, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a city you know and love. And you
Mhm.
saw it not only pummeled by storms, but people who reverted into their worst forms of themselves during
Mhm.
that time.
Yeah.
But you also met people who rose to the occasion and helped. So,
Oh,
like you said,
absolutely.
you saw the best and the worst of humanity.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, that sounds like an amazing voice, amazing book, rather. Grace Has a Silent Voice, correct? Is the
Correct.
title. Wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
looking forward to that rewrite that you're doing there.
Me
Let's
too.
turn back now to the children's stories books.
Yes.
What advice do you have for parents who are looking to foster a love of reading in their children?
Start early.
Yeah.
Start early. You know, I will tell you, I have a brand new grandson
Hmm.
who is now,
Congratulations.
he's 4 months old. And the first thing I did was take him to the library. And
Mm,
you have to think about this. I took him to the library and I went, look at all the books, look at
mm,
the stories. And I'm speaking to him. Now I can bring him into my office or any place that he goes. He as young as he is, he's looking at the array of colors.
mm.
So start early,
Yeah.
tell them stories, show them a book, have them touch a book, you know.
Yeah.
And even if I mean, they're young, but people love stories,
Yeah.
whether they're little or not. And it's funny holding him, embracing him. Yeah, I even sang stories. I sang songs that my father sang to me, or stories that I remembered, and you will see the reaction. So that's a great way to have a relationship.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. It's a great way for you to build a relationship with the child, a
Mhm.
great way to expand that child's mind, and a great way for that child to appreciate books on a whole nother level. And I agree. Start early, tell them stories, read
Mhm.
with them, let them make up stories about the pages and the pictures in the book,
Mhm.
and make it as interactive and as fun as positive as possible. And they are, you know, days and years and months that you'll treasure for the rest of your life, as will they. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
without a doubt.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, of the three books, Athena the Brave would be your first film, if you were going to make a movie out of it, you said. And then probably the sequel would be Athena, Tudor, and Eagle, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And HoneyBee TreeHouse, of course. All
Fun.
three wonderful books.
Yes. Thank you.
Such a great world you've opened up for children. The
Thank you.
importance of words, the importance of courage, and the importance of bees to our ecosystem and to our lives. Like you said, pretty much anything we eat is dependent on a honeybee if it grows in the ground, without a doubt. Nina,
Absolutely.
thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you, Logan. It's always so much fun.
I
You
enjoyed talking to you. What a story you had to tell today. That was amazing. And
Thank
you
you.
can read more about that story in Nina's forthcoming book, a new edition that's being put together. Grace Has a Silent Voice.
Yes.
Highly
Thank you.
recommended as well.
Thank
Nina,
you.
again, I appreciate your time. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time until next time
Thank
on
you.
Spotlight. Thank
Appreciate it.
you.
Thank